Hello everyone, now let's discuss the questions of GT6. So let's see the zoology portion. So here is the first question, number 91. The separated bands of DNA are cut out from agarose gel and extracted from gel pieces in a process known as elution. So the process is termed as elution. Answer should be 1. Coming to this very good question, number 92. Which of the following statements are correct regarding the menstrual cycle? So we want here the correct statements. So the first menstruation begins at puberty and is called as menarche. This is true. The ovulatory phase is followed by a proliferative phase. No, that is luteal phase or secretory phase. So this is wrong. Menstruation occurs if the released ovum is not fertilized. That is true. Cyclic menstruation extends between menarche and menopause. Absolutely correct. During pregnancy, all events of the menstrual cycle stops and there is no menstruation. That is also true. So we want here the correct statements. So A, C, D and E will be correct. So our answer should be 3. Now let's move on to our next question. Let's see the first next question. Question number 93. So we have two statements here. Agrobacterium tumefacius, a pathogen of several dicot, is able to deliver a piece of DNA known as tDNA to transform a normal plant cell into a tumor. So that is absolutely correct. So this statement is correct. Now coming to the next statement, organic farming is a holistic approach that seeks to develop an understanding of the web of interaction between the myriad of organisms that constitute the field's fauna and flora. This is also correct. So we were supposed to find out which one is correct and which one is incorrect, but both the statements are correct. So correct answer here should be 1. Next question, question number 94. So let's read the statements carefully. Statement 1 says amniocentesis is a procedure that can be used to test for the presence of certain genetic disorders such as sickle cell anemia, hemophilia to determine the survivability of the fetus. So when we talk about amniocentesis, yes, amniotic fluid is taken from the pregnant female and the cells of the fetus there will be studied. Karyotyping is done and definitely we do understand if there is any genetic abnormality, chromosomal abnormality. So this is correct. Now coming to the next statement, statement 2 states that in amniocentesis, some of the amniotic fluid of the developing fetus is taken to analyze the fetal cells and the dissolved substances. So this statement is also true. So both the statements are true. That means correct answer here should be 1. So correct answer here should be 1. Okay. So amniocentesis is important to detect the genetic abnormality in fetus. Now coming to next question, functional residual capacity of lungs. So functional residual capacity of lungs will include ERV and RV, right? So here it is option number 3. So correct answer here should be 3. Itching, fluid discharge, slight pain, swelling, etc. in the genital organs are the minor and early symptoms of. So we have options here like STIs, all helminth infections, most congenital genetic disorder, all fungal infection. So this is definitely most of the STIs. So correct answer here should be 1. Next question. Which of the following is under the direct neural regulation of the hypothalamus? So when we talk about hypothalamus and the pituitary gland, the posterior pituitary, that is the neurohypophysis, will be under direct neural regulation, right? So here the answer will be posterior pituitary gland, that means 4. The sexual stage, gametocytes of the plasmodium develop in. So here we are talking about the life cycle of plasmodium in malaria. So gametocytes will develop in human RBC. Male and female gametocytes will be produced in the human RBC. So here the correct answer should be 1. Next question. So let's read list 1 and list 2 in this match the following type of question. Sinoatrial node. So sinoatrial node, let's see where it will be located. So it will be located in the right upper corner of the right atrium. So SA node will be matched with 2, right? Now coming to Purkinje fiber. So it is there in ventricular musculature. So B is matched with 1. Now coming to AV node. AV node will be present in the lower left corner of the right atrium again. So C is matched with 4. Right? So we got our answer, but let's match D. AV bundle emerges on the top of the interventricular septum. So D will be matched with 3. So we got our answer. It should be 4. Let's move on to next assertion and reason type of question. So assertion says superclass Pisces and superclass Tetrapoda comes under the division Gnathostomata. So the meaning of Gnatha is jaw and stomata means mouth. So yes, it is right that Pisces and Tetrapoda both comes under Gnathostomata. Now the members of Pisces and the members of Tetrapoda possess a mouth provided with jaw. Absolutely correct. That's why they are placed under gnathostomata. So assertion is also true, reason is also true, and reason is the correct explanation of assertion as well. Right? So answer for this question should be 1. Next question. So we have two statements here. Ligaments are dense, regular connective tissue. So when we talk about tendons and ligaments, definitely they are examples of dense, regular connective tissue, where the cells and the fibers are arranged in a regular manner and they are compactly packed. So this is absolutely correct statement. Now cartilage is one of the specialized connective tissue. That is also true. Both the statements are correct. So answer here should be 1. Next one, question number 111. In monoglycerides, glycerol is attached to the fatty acid molecule by N. So in between the monoglycerides and the fatty acid, there will be ester bond. So correct answer for this question should be ester bond. Whereas peptide bond you will see will be in between the amino acids in a protein, glycosidic bond in carbohydrate, and phosphodiester bond in case of nucleic acid. Next, which of the following statements is correct in relation to the frog's heart? So is it neurogenic? So remember, the heart of frog will be myogenic and not neurogenic. It has two ventricles and one atrium. No dear, it will have a three-chambered heart with two atria, one ventricle. A triangular structure called sinus venosus joins the right atrium. Now that is true. Now the ventricle opens into a sac-like conus arteriosus located on the dorsal side of the heart. Now this should be ventral side. So we wanted here the correct statement, and here the correct statement will be 3. So answer will be 3. So that was question number 115. Let's move on to question number 117. So we are discussing questions of zoology. Pay attention to the question number. Statement 1 says, cancer causing viruses called oncogenic viruses have genes called viral oncogenes. That's true. Antibodies against cancer specific antigens are also used for the detection of certain cancers. So that is also true. If we can detect the antibodies against cancer specific antigens. So antigens specific to cancer are produced by cancerous cells, and we can use antibodies against those antigens to detect those particular antigens and can diagnose cancer. So that is also true. So both the statements are correct. So correct answer for this question will be 1. Next question. Statement 1 says, vasa efferentia leaves the testis and open into epididymis located along the posterior surface of each testis. So that is true, that epididymis will be located in the posterior surface of each testis. So that is true. Now the shape of the uterus is like an inverted pear, and it is supported by ligaments attached to the pelvic wall. So ligaments are attaching the uterus to the pelvic wall. That is also correct. Both the statements are correct. So our answer should be 1. So our answer should be 1. Next question. Question number 121. Study the following statements about members of the kingdom Animalia, and we need to find out the correct option. Right? So we want the correct option. Which ones are true we need to find out. exhibit radial and bilateral symmetry depending on the stages. That is true, because in echinodermata, the adult will show radial symmetry and larva will show bilateral symmetry. Poriferans and cnidarians exhibit a cellular level of organization. So, dear students, poriferans will show cellular level but not cnidarians. So, this is wrong. The members of platyhelminths are acoelomate, that is true. The members of Annelida, Arthropoda and Mollusca are coelomate. So Annelida, Arthropoda, Mollusca will definitely be coelomate. So this is also true. Correct statements will be A, C and D. Right? A, C and D. So answer should be 3. Next question. Match list 1 with list 2. So we have some types of barriers in list 1 and the examples in list 2. So the first one is the cellular barrier. The first one is the cellular barrier. So cellular barrier example will be neutrophils. Physical barrier example will be mucus coating in urinogenital tract. Cytokine barrier example is interferon, and physiological barrier will be saliva in the mouth. So A is matched with 3, B is matched with 1, C is matched with 4, right? So A is matched with 3, B is matched with 1, right? So we have two options here, and then C is matched with 4 and D is matched with 2. So we got our answer. It should be option 2. Got it? Now let's move on to our next question. That is question number 124, and it is also a match the following type of question. So we have here autonomic neural system. So autonomic neural system, let's read in what is given in list 2, right? Now transmission of impulses from the CNS to the involuntary organ. So autonomic neural system definitely will transmit the impulses from CNS to the involuntary organ. So A is matched with 4. So we have two options like this. Chemical synapses, right? So let's read this option. Membranes of pre and post synaptic neurons are separated by a synaptic cleft. Absolutely true, because synaptic cleft is there where neurotransmitters are released that binds to the receptors present on the post synaptic membrane, and this is how the synapses will the synapse, which is termed as chemical synapse, will work. So somatic neural system, here the impulses will relay from CNS to the skeletal muscle. Pay attention to the somatic neural system. And electrical synapse are the one where the pre and the post synaptic neurons are in very close proximity, right? So that is electrical synapse. Now here A is matched with 4, B is matched with 2, right? So we got our answer. It should be option number 4. So it was easy. Next is select the correct group or set of Australian marsupials exhibiting adaptive radiation. So out of all these options, if you check wombat, Tasmanian wolf, sugar glider will be Australian marsupial, right? So correct answer for this question should be 2. Next. So again we have list 1 and list 2. Let's match it. So tubectomy is when the fallopian tube is cut and tied in case of females. So tubectomy will be matched with the surgical method of contraception. Lactational amenorrhea is the natural method of contraception. Walls will be barrier method, and LNG20 will be hormone releasing IUD, which is intrauterine device. So here you can see A is matched with 3, B is matched with 4. So we got our answer. C is matched with 2 and D is matched with 1. So correct answer for this question should be 3. Let's move on to next question number 130. Repeated activation of the muscles can lead to accumulation of lactic acid, and this lactic acid is produced because of anaerobic respiration in the muscles. So anaerobic breakdown of glucose and glycogen in them will lead to the accumulation of lactic acid, right? So answer here should be 3. Next question. Which of the following is now routinely used to detect HIV in suspected AIDS patient? A very good question, and pay attention to now, right? So it will be polymerase chain reaction. So answer here should be 1. Now coming to question number 136. Assertion says during pregnancy the levels of estrogen, progesterone, cortisol, prolactin, thyroxine. Pay attention to each and every hormone names that are given. So it is estrogen, progesterone, cortisol, prolactin, thyroxine increases several folds in the maternal blood, and that is true. Now, increased production of these hormone is important for supporting the fetal growth, metabolic changes in the mother, and the maintenance of pregnancy. Yes. So here assertion is also true and reason is also explaining the assertion. So both are true, and the correct explanation of assertion answer will be 1. Okay. Next question. So pay attention what is asked in the question. So they are asking about incorrect statement. Now, bioreactors can be thought of as a vessel in which raw materials are biologically converted into specific product. Yes, this is true. A bioreactor provides the optimal condition necessary to achieve the desired product. Yes, this is what is the function of bioreactors. A stirred tank reactor has a flat base. Now, this is wrong. It should be curved base. The stirrer facilitates even mixing of nutrients and oxygen availability throughout the bioreactor. Now, this is true. So, the only statement that is incorrect will be C. Okay? C. That means 1. So, correct answer here should be 1. Got it? Let's move on to next question. Again, one more assertion and reason question we have. A fall in glomerular blood flow or glomerular blood pressure or GFR can activate the JG cells to release renin. So not only the concept is fine, but check the spelling of RENIN, renin, which is also fine. That is true. Now, if you can recall RAS mechanism, so RAS mechanism will be activated when there is fall in glomerular blood flow or glomerular blood pressure or GFR, and ultimately it increases the GFR and the blood pressure. So this is true. Now, atrial natriuretic factor can cause vasodilation, thereby decreasing the blood pressure. Yes, vasodilation will decrease the blood pressure, and this is because of ANF. True. Now, both are correct, but different from each other. So, both are correct, but not the correct explanation of assertion. Pay attention. So, it is 2. So, if any one of you was confused whether it was A or B, remember that it is B. Next, milk produced by Rosie, the first transgenic cow, was nutritionally more balanced for human babies due to the presence of which of the following human protein? So, in the milk of Rosie, there was alpha lactalbumin. So, correct answer here should be 3. Straightforward question from biotechnology. Next. So again we have two statements. Statement 1 says that due to continental drift, pouched mammal of Australia survived because of the lack of competition from any other mammal. That is true. By the time of 500 million years ago, invertebrates were formed and active. That is also true. So both the statements are true. Correct answer should be 1. Next. So again we have two statements. Let's read the two statements carefully. ORI is the sequence that not only initiate transcription. So first of all, let's understand that origin of replication site in the plasmid will initiate replication and not transcription. This is false. So yeah, it is controlling copy number, but ultimately it is false statement. In order to force bacteria to take up the plasmid, the bacterial cells must first be made competent to take up the DNA by treating them with a specific concentration of divalent cation. Now, this is true. So 1 is false and 2 is true. So 1 is incorrect, but statement 2 is correct. Answer here should be 3. Be careful with such questions. In a hurry, you might make this one correct. Next one. Making multiple copies of any template DNA inside the host cell is called very simple question cloning. Answer is 4. Next question. In which abdominal segment of the female cockroach is a pair of spermatheca present? Spermatheca is in female cockroach. It is always present in pairs and it is present in the sixth segment in a female cockroach. So answer here should be 4. Next question, question number 160. The renal tubules begins with a double-walled cup-like structure called Bowman's capsule. Yes. The glomerulus is a tuft of capillaries formed by the afferent arteriole, a fine branch of renal artery. That is also true. Both the statements are correct here. So answer here should be 1. Next, in cockroaches, a ring of 6 to 8 blind tubules called hepatic ceca is present at the junction of. So, hepatic ceca will be present at the junction of foregut and midgut, right? Remember, Malpighian tubules are present at the junction of midgut and hindgut. But here it is foregut and midgut. That means correct answer should be 1. Next. Arrange the following layers or regions of adrenal gland in the correct sequence from outside to inside. Right, so we have some glomerulosa, reticularis, fasciculata. So these zona, reticularis, zona, glomerulosa, zona, fasciculata, you can remember in a simple mnemonic, that is GFR. Right, so if you make adrenal gland and if this is the cortex, definitely the innermost will be the medulla, right? And this cortex is also divided into 3 layers. Now the outermost will be glomerulosa, then comes fasciculata, and then comes reticularis, and then the medulla, right? So we will go with this. So first one is glomerulosa C, right? See, so we have 2 options. We have eliminated other 2. Then it is fasciculata. So that is A, right? So we got our answer. Then it is reticularis. Reticularis will be D, right? And then it is adrenal medulla. That means B. So correct answer for this question should be 2. Easy and interesting. Next question. Which of the following is an oviparous vertebrate that undergoes direct development? So here it should be aves, right? So we have here neophoron, which is vulture, or aves. So correct answer for this question should be 2. Next question. This is an assertion and reason question, question number 170. Assertion says oxygen can bind with hemoglobin in a reversible manner to form oxyhemoglobin. So this binding of oxygen and hemoglobin is reversible. And yeah, it do form oxyhemoglobin, that means it is correct. Now, each hemoglobin molecule can carry a maximum of 4 molecules of oxygen. That is also true. But is it a correct explanation of assertion? Is the reason explaining that why the binding of oxygen and hemoglobin is reversible? Not at all. So that's why the answer should be B. Both are true, but not the correct explanation of assertion. So it is 2. Easy? Next. The inner lining of the squamous endothelium of the arteries is called the innermost. So it will be termed as tunica intima, right? So answer should be 1. Next, the corpus luteum mainly secretes progesterone. Very simple question, direct question. So it majorly secretes progesterone, though it is also secreting estrogen, but in small amounts, right? So your answer is 4. Next. So here we have types of joints and their location. So saddle joint is present in our thumb, right? So saddle joint will be present in our thumb. So let's match saddle joint with the thumb. So it is present between carpals and metacarpals of the thumb. Pivot joint will be present between atlas and axis. So it will be matched with atlas and axis. Gliding joint present in the carpals, right? And hinge joint will be present between femur and tibia. So A is matched with 2, B is matched with 3, right? Oh, sorry, 4. So 2 and 4. So we have tie between options 1 and 3. Now coming to gliding joint is matched with 1. So we got our answer, it should be 1. And the last hinge joint will be matched with between femur and tibia. So D is matched with 3. So answer here should be 1. Next. So how many of the following are true with respect to eco R1? A very interesting question from biotechnology chapter. It was first discovered, isolated, and characterized as restriction enzyme among all such type of enzymes isolated from different bacterial cells. So the first one was Hind2. Its target site for action is a 6 base pair of length with 4 AT pair and 2 GC. So if we can recall the recognition site for eco R1, it will be GAATTC. Okay. Okay, this is how we write it. So is there 4 pair of AT? Yes, absolutely. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is correct. 2 GC pair. Yes, absolutely. This one and this one. So the statement is correct. It cleaves the strand of DNA exactly at the middle of the palindromic sequence is wrong. It forms the DNA fragment with sticky ends. Yes, because it cleaves the DNA from here and here. Right? It breaks the bond between A and A of GAATTC. That means here, no, this is wrong. So now let's go back to the question. How many of the following are true with respect to eco R1? How many are true? So B is true, D is true. That means 2 statements are true. Answer should be 3, 2. Getting the point? Don't just in a hurry mark 2. Right? So it is 3. Okay, the answer is 3. Yes? Let's move on to next question. Observe the figure and tell us which is the correct statement with respect to this. So what is this? This is phyla, apple snail from mollusca. Now body is segmented? Absolutely not. Now this is a issue that many students might face and they think that mollusca could be segmented, but no, mollusca will be unsegmented. So this is wrong. The circulatory system is of closed type. It is open type, closed only in devilfish or octopus. So this is wrong. Mantle covers visceral hump. True. Antenna, eyes and parapodia will not be there. Parapodia in Nereis and Annelida, if you can recall. So correct answer here should be 3. Right? 3. So with this, we have completed the discussion of GT6 zoology portion. See you again with the next question paper discussion. Thank you so much.
Hello everyone, I welcome all of you to this discussion of Grand Test 6, and here we are going to discuss the physics portion over here. Let's bring up the first question what we have. So first question over here we have is of vernier caliper. Now in a vernier caliper, when the jaws are touching, basically the 0 mark on the vernier scale is to the left of the 0 mark on the main scale. At that moment, the 7th division mark on the vernier caliper matches perfectly with the division on the main scale. Now, this entire statement gives you a hint that there is a 0 error in the problem, right? And the 0 error over here is the negative 0 error. Why? Because the vernier scale 0 is lying leftward to the positive 0 error. Now, what will be the value of the negative 0 error over here is, see, the 7th one is coinciding. That means the amount of negative 0 error what you will have is 10 minus 7 into the least count. Okay. Now, what is the value of the least count? So, for the least count, we will calculate things over here. 10 vernier scale divisions are matching with 9. So, 10 VSDs are matching with 9 MSDs, right? So, least count over here will be 1 MSD minus 1 VSD, correct? Which eventually will be equal to 1 by 10 times MSD. MSD as such is not mentioned but will be equal to 1 mm. That will be means 0.1 mm over here. Okay, when you place it over here, this will be equal to 0.3 mm. This will be 3 into least count, that is 0.3 mm. Right. So the final reading over here, the answer over here will be the main scale reading, which is 55 mm plus eighth mark is matching 8 into least count, which is 0.1, minus, this is going to be a negative 0 error. Okay, so keep a negative sign, minus negative of 0.3 mm. Okay, so when you will add all of this, 0.8 plus 0.3 is 1.1, that will be equal to 56.1 mm. Okay, this is the final value. I hope you have understood. So option number 1 will be the correct answer over here, right? Moving ahead, for an experimental expression 32.3 into 1125 upon 27.4, where all digits is given, reported value of y is, least significant numbers are 3 with this and this, so there should be 3. That means option number 4 is correct. The equation of a transverse wave traveling along a line is y 4 sine 20 and 600 t, where x is in meter. The velocity of the wave is simple coefficient of t upon coefficient of x. That means 600 whole divided by 20 into 10 raised to the power minus 3. You calculate it, and obviously there should be a negative sign as well, because in the options also there is negative. So option number 3 will be matching 30 meter per second. Kindly solve it. Moving ahead, which of the following resistivity versus temperature graph is most suitable to be used in wire bound resistors? Obviously the correct answer is this one. It has some resistance. Consider the following statements and choose the correct ones. The junction area of a solar cell is made very narrow compared to a photodiode. Solar cells are not connected to any external bias. LED is made of lightly doped PN junction. Well, so this is wrong, right? And solar cells are not connected to external bias, obviously, right? Reason being because solar cells in itself, they are left open and an EMF is getting developed over here. Okay, an increase in forward current results, first of all, B and C. Based on that, this can be rejected, this can be rejected, and first and second can be the right answer. Let's check for D. So an increase in forward current results in continuous increase in LED light intensity. This is absolutely wrong. Okay, so B and E are the correct answer over here. Okay. The value of current I in the electrical circuit given below when the potential at A is equal to the potential at B. Okay, so potential at A equals to potential at B. That means no current will flow through 30 ohm. That simply signifies that the ratio of 10:R will be equal to 20:40, making it a Wheatstone bridge, correct? So R will be equal to how much? 20 ohm. Now if R is 20 ohm, so what will be the current which will be running in the circuit? So current will be going like this. 10/20 is 30. This is 20/40 60. 30 into 60 upon 30 plus 60 is 20. Correct. So 40 by 20, I value will be 2 ampere. Option number 1 is correct. Moving ahead, a uniform rod of mass small m and length L rests on a smooth horizontal surface. The rod is given a sharp horizontal impulse perpendicular to the rod at a distance L by 4 from the center. Okay, so here it is given a sharp impulse P at a distance of L by 4. Now due to this, the rod will now be coming in rotation like this. Okay, so the angular velocity of the rod will be equal to, so the angular velocity of the rod P into L by 4 will be equal to I is ml square by 12 into omega. Clear? So L cancels. Finally, omega value can be calculated. Omega value will be equal to, this will cancel this by 3. So it will be 3p upon ml. Option number 1 is the right answer. A sphere is rolling down an inclined plane without slipping. The ratio of the rotational kinetic energy to the total kinetic energies. The rotational kinetic energy to the total kinetic energy over here. Now see, come on. There is a sphere. This question is of rolling, but okay, we can solve it. Not a big deal. It is at rest right now. Now here it will obviously have some velocity. So kinetic energy will be half mv square. And there's going to be some rotational kinetic energy also, half I omega square. And this will be equal to, this basically will be equal to the ratio of the rotational kinetic to the total kinetic. Okay, so the rotational kinetic will be half of I omega square. Now we can take an assumption of pure rolling, that is V equals to R omega. Now simply keeps R omega over here and I value. Consider a sphere to be a solid one. Whenever nothing is mentioned, you always consider a sphere to be solid sphere. Okay, so based on that, option number 3 will be matching 2 by 7. Moving ahead, the stress strain curve for a material, show the point where Hooke's law is valid. Obviously, Hooke's law is valid when the staff is straight up to A. A body of mass 2 kg travels according to the law x equals to pt plus qt square plus rt cube, where p is 3. The initial force acting on it Initial force can be calculated as, first calculate P. So P value will be equal to P plus 2qt plus 3rt square. Then calculate acceleration, which is 2q plus 6rt. Initial force means at t equals to 0. So the value of the force will be equal to mass into acceleration. That means 2 into q is 4, is the acceleration into mass is 2. This turns out to be 16. Option number 3 is the right answer. Right? This will be the value of force, which is mass into acceleration. Correct? Moving ahead. Water falls from a height of 60 meter at the rate of 15 kg per second to operate a turbine. The losses due to frictional losses are 10% of the energy. Okay. How much power is generated by the turbine? Water falls from a height of 60 meter at the rate of 15 kg per second to operate a turbine. So when the water is falling, basically the potential energy loss will be equal to mgh, right? And there are losses. So basically 90% of that is basically the amount of energy used. And if you divide by time, you will get the value of power. Now this m by t value is given 15 kg per second. So 15 into g is 10 into height is 60 into 90 by 100. You get the value, you get the value of power. Okay, I hope this is making complete sense to you, right? Let's move ahead for the next one. Option number 1 will be the right answer over here. A boy standing on a weighing machine notices his weight as 400 Newton. When he suddenly jumps upward, the weight shown by the machine becomes 600 Newton. Now why this will happen is because for the man, along with mg, now there will be ma also, since he is accelerating upward. Correct? So we need to find out the acceleration. So no problem, mg plus ma is 600, right? And mg is 400. G cancels this, so m is simple 40, and ma over here will be 200. So 40 into a is 200. That means this will be 5. Near about you can consider 4.9 since acceleration is 9.8. A solid ball made of material having coefficient of volume expansion is this, immersed in liquid having a coefficient of volume expansion this, the percentage change in the upthrust when the temperature increases is. Okay, so when there is an object, there is a buoyant force acting on it, and the buoyant force is rho into v into g, correct? Where rho is the density, v is the volume. Now see, the point is the volume of the solid ball is going to increase, correct? Because the temperature is increasing. But talking about the density will reduce. So if the density will reduce, so if somebody is asking me about the delta F upon F, I will have to include the negative portion of the density plus the positive portion of the volume of the substance, right? Now minus delta rho by rho, so whatever is the volume coefficient of the liquid, just the negative of that is the volume density coefficient of that substance. So this will be minus 13 into 10 raised to the power minus 6 into 100, because delta rho by rho is simply your gamma into delta T. So temperature change they are saying is 100, correct? Plus, and there is a negative sign also, please take a note, okay? Plus, the volume expansion will be equal to 8 into 10 raised to the power minus 6 into 100, correct? Try solving it, you will get the answer as, so that percentage change in upthrust will be negative obviously, and it was going to be 0.05%. Right? This is going to be 0.05%. Now the point is there can be a common confusion coming over here, sir, why the errors over here are getting subtracted, right? Errors always add up, right? This is what we have learned. So basically we are not talking about errors over here. Please take a note. This is not error analysis. We are talking about the variation in this and what are going to be the variations on the buoyant force. It is somewhat like this, that if R equivalent is R1 plus R2, right? If R equivalent is R1 plus R2, and I'm pretty sure about this that I am increasing this, and I'm pretty sure about this that I'm reducing this, then I cannot claim that R equivalent will also be plus minus. It will have, the effect over here will be subtracted from this effect. When we talk about errors, we have no idea whether it is in the positive side or the negative side. So please conclude properly whether it is the case of error or a standard scenario is given to you, that one of them is increasing, other one is reducing. Then you will have to obviously take up the negative sign over here. Okay, I hope this point is making sense. If the frequency of input AC is 60 Hertz, the full wave rectifier, then frequency doubles, which will be 120 Hertz. The particle executes simple harmonic motion with frequency of the frequency with which kinetic energy oscillates. See, kinetic energy oscillates like this, right? And normal oscillation happens in this manner. So basically, again, the frequency becomes 2f. Option number 3 is the right answer. Electric potential in a region is given by V equals to 2x square minus 3y. The electric field intensity. See, the electric field intensity over here will be equal to minus of grad V. Minus grad V means do the partial differentiation. Do the partial differentiation with respect to x. So this will be 4x along I cap. Then do the partial differentiation with respect to y. This is going to be plus 3 j cap. So this is the electric field. Now they're asking at 0, 3, 5. So 0, this means 0, and this is only 3 j cap. So plus 3 j cap. Option number 2 is the correct answer. The temperature coefficient of resistance for a wire is this much. At 300 Kelvin, it's 1 ohm, and at 2 Kelvin, this is this much. See, resistance of any wire at any temperature is resistance at 0 degree centigrade 1 plus alpha into delta T. Correct? So for the first case, it will be R at 27 degree centigrade, because 300 Kelvin means that, whole divided by, I want to find out the R at T degree centigrade. This will be R naught and R naught, and 1 plus alpha is same. Delta T is how much? For the first one, from 0, you are ahead by 27. Correct? And over here, it will be ahead by some temperature T. Correct? And this value which you will get will be in degree centigrade. So once you will solve it, this value is turning out to be 1, this value is turning out to be 2. So once you will solve it, you will get the value of T. Alpha value is also given. Now once you get the value of T, that is not going to be the answer. You will have to then add T plus 273, and that give me the final answer. Option number 4 will be matching that. Okay? A proton enters a region of uniform magnetic field B of 0.5 Tesla with a velocity U at an angle 45 with B. If P is the pitch of helical path followed, the radius of helix is. See, the pitch over here is U cos 45 into the time of one complete rotation, and that will be how much? So Q into V cross B equals to mv square by r, right? So 2 pi under root of V by R will be equal to QB upon M, right? This is omega. So M upon QB. M upon QB. Correct? This is the value. So I think U is already given. The U value is already given. Okay. So the pitch is given as P. Then the radius of the helix will be equal to. Okay. Perfect. So the pitch value is already given. That's good. And we need to find out the radius of the helix. So radius will be equal to M U sine 45 upon QB. Right, sir? Perfect. Now, just a minute. This is not under root 2 pi M upon QB. Correct? So, QB upon M is how much? See, QB upon M is how much? M U cos 45. This is exactly the same. QB is also exactly the same. So, MU cos 45 sin 45 is same. So, pitch P upon 2 pi. Option number 1 is the right answer. Correct? This will be the radius. Next, the body of mass 200 gram is moving along XY plane. Work done by the force when it displaces a body from this. See, whenever you have X and Y, that means the work done will be equal to integration of F along X axis, that is 2x with dx, and integration of Y with dy. And limit will be from along X it is from 0 to 1, and along Y it is from 0 to 2. Correct? 2x dx is 2x square by 2, and y dy is y square by 2. Correct? Keep the limit 0 to 1 and keep the limit 0 to 2. Done? Let's find out the value. 2 to cancel. 1 plus 2 square minus 0, that means 4 by 2, that is 2. That means 3. Option number 1 is the correct answer. 3 units. Next, two cars A and B start from x equals to 0 and x equals to minus 4 respectively along a straight line, and their positions are given by x equals to this and xp equals to. At what time they cross each other? Sir, they are going to cross each other when their positions are going to be same. Yes or no? So t square minus 3t is equal to t minus 4. T t square minus 4t plus 4 equals to 0. This is t minus 2 whole square. That means t will be equal to 2 after 2 seconds. Next, an object is projected with kinetic energy k from a point A at an angle 60 with the horizontal. The ratio of differences in kinetic energy at point B and C to that at point A in the absence, okay, the ratio of the difference in kinetic energies at point B and C. So here the energy is U only, and here it is U cos 60. Correct? So difference will be equal to U square minus U square, U by 2 whole square. That means U square by 4. That means 3U square by 4. Correct? So difference will be equal to half M into 3U square by 4. Half M into 3U square by 4. This is the difference. To that at point A. At point A will be equal to half MU square. 3 by 4. Correct? Simple. Option number 3. Moving ahead. A block of mass 22 kg is moving on a inclined plane. Okay. That makes an angle of 30 degree with the horizontal. The friction coefficient between the block and inclined plane is root 3 by 2. The force to be applied on the block so that the block moves down. The block moves down. You want to make the block move down. That means the downward force, which is 5g sine 30, and the upward force, which will be equal to root 3 by 2 into mg cos 30, right? So how much extra force should be applied down with acceleration A, right? Now first of all, I will have to check which force is more, right? So this turns out to be 5g cos 30 is root 3 by 2. That means it turns out to be 3 by 4. So it turns out to be 3 by 4 times 5 mg. And this turns out to be 5g, sorry, not 5 mg, 5g. And this turns out to be 1 by 2 into 5g. Correct? Perfect. So obviously you will have to apply a force not in the downward direction but rather in the upward direction. Well, to be specific, exactly not in the upward direction, it's in the downward direction only. That's absolutely correct, because the downward force is of lesser magnitude, right? This is 5g by 2. And how much is this? This is 0. This is 15g by 4 and this is 5g by 2. Just to give you a heads up, this is 10g by 4. Clear? So you require a force equal to 5g by 4 in the downward direction to balance it and make the block move slowly. So 5g by 4 amounts to 50 by 4 is 25. That means 12.5. Option number 3 is the correct answer. Three masses 200, 300 and 400 are placed at the vertices of an equilateral triangle with side 20 meter. Okay. They are rearranged on the vertices of a bigger triangle of side 25 meter and the same center. The work done in the process is. So what will the work done in the process? See, come on. First of all, let's try to find out the values. Okay. So 2, 3 and 4. So one component will be because of this k into 2 into 3. Right? K into 2 into 3. Now earlier will be high, later on will be small, right? So later on potential energy, when the distance is high, is going to be more. The potential energy later on is going to be lesser, and initially the potential energy will be high. So work done in this process by gravitational force. So see, come on, for each of the following you need to do one thing: 20 square minus 1 upon 25 square. Correct. The same thing for k into 2 into 4, which is 1 upon 20 square minus 1 upon 25 square. Correct. Then plus k into 3 into 4, which is 1 upon 20 square minus 1 upon 25 square. Correct. So this is the value which you will have to calculate. Then the answer will be sorted. It is undoubtedly a calculative question, no doubt about that. But I think you can solve it. Earth has a mass 8 times and a radius of 2 times that of a planet. If the escape speed from Earth is 11.2, the escape velocity from that planet will be. Escape speed is under root of 2 times gm upon r. Right? So if the mass becomes 8 times, if this becomes 8, and the radius becomes 2 times. So under root 2 comes out, that means it will be 2 times of that. That will be just half of that, right? So 5.6 will be the correct answer over here, okay? Because Earth has mass 8 times, right? So the other one will be having 1 by 8 of that. Perfect. It will be half of that. 5.6, absolutely correct. Moving ahead, a 10 mole oxygen is heated at constant volume from 30 to 40. The change in internal energy. Sir, the change in internal energy will be equal to NCV delta T. Correct. Now, number of mole is already given. Oxygen is diatomic, so it will be 5R by 2, right? FRT by 2, FR by 2, and temperature is by 10. I think you can solve this, correct? They are saying take R as 2 calorie per mole. No problem, we can take 2 calorie per mole and we'll get the final answer in calorie. So if you consider it 2 calorie, so see 2 cancel, 500 is the right answer, option number 2. Moving ahead. Simple match the column. Excess pressure inside a liquid drop. Sir, this is 2T by R. Excess pressure inside a soap bubble. Sir, this is 4T by R. A2, B3, A2, B3, A2, B3, A2, B3. Okay, these two rejected. Then C. Excess pressure inside an air bubble and the height. So obviously it is going to be rho GH plus 2T by R, C4. C4. Option number 2 is the right answer. Idealized reversible process is a quasi-static process with no dissipative factors such as friction, viscosity, etc. That is absolutely correct. The spontaneous process of nature is irreversible. That is also perfectly correct. So both the statements are correct. Both the statements are correct. Okay. So the following best represents the temperature heat supplied from water in the range -20 to 120. That means it should have both the latent heat of fusion also, vaporization also. Not this one. There are too many. There is only one. 4 is the right answer. Latent heat of fusion, latent heat of vaporization. Kinetic energy of translation of the molecules of 50 gram of carbon dioxide at 17 degrees centigrade. See, translation, whenever they say, they are obviously talking about the translational kinetic energy, and translational kinetic energy will be 3 nRT by 2. 3 nRT by 2, right? Because the degree of freedom will be 3 now. Now, can you calculate the number of moles? Obviously, sir. Number of moles will be 50. Whole divided by the atomic mass is O2 is 32 and this is 12. 44. R value 8.3 into temperature 273 plus 70 is 290. Solve it. You will get the answer. The answers are close. Option number 2 will match. Option number 2 will match. Yes. Option number 2 will match. Concave mirror focal length F in the air dipped in liquid of refractive index nu, its focal length in liquid. There will be no change. Focal length of mirrors don't change when they are kept in medium. So sorry. Each side of thin convex lens of glass has radius of curvature R. One side is polished for complete reflection. At what distance from the lens should an object be placed on the optic axis so that the image gets formed? So basically what you need to do is, this is the lens. Now it acts like a mirror. So first you will have to find out the focal length of the combination. Focal length of the combination will be -2 times focal length of lens 1 plus 1 upon focal length of the mirror. Correct? Now once you have used this technique to find out the focal length of this combination, so basically the distance will be equal to 2 times the focal length of the combination. That is at center of curvature. Okay? So 4 will be matching. Okay? 4 will be matching over here. Right? Please try it. Double slit interference experiment performed with a light of wavelength 600 nanometer forms an interference fringe pattern on a screen with 10th bright fringe having its center at a distance of 10 mm from the central maxima. The distance of the center of the same 10th bright fringe from the central maximum when the source of light is replaced by another source of light 600 mm. See, come on, y is equal to delta x capital D upon small d. For maxima it is n lambda capital D upon small d, right? The number is same. The n is same. Capital D and small d are also same. So basically what they are changing is y is directly proportional to lambda. Right? Y for the first one is 10 mm. For the next one I need to find out. And for when it is 10 mm, the wavelength of light used is 600 nanometer. Now what will be when 660 nanometer is used? So double zero cancels, this 0 cancels, 6 goes by 11. Y turns out to be 11 mm. Option number 1. Perfect. An electron is made to enter symmetrically between two parallel metal plates, each 10 centimeter long. Having equal and opposite charges, the electron emerges out of the plate with horizontal component of velocity. Okay. If the magnitude of electric field, okay, okay. So basically, let's say there are the two plates. This is positive and this is negative. So the field lines are obviously in this manner. Correct. Now, when there is an electron which is entering, it obviously will experience a force in the upward direction. Due to this, it will follow this path, and when it will eject over here, the horizontal component is turning out to be 10 raised to the power 6 meter per second, right? Of electric field between the plates is 9.1 volt per centimeter. See, so the point is, due to the force, this velocity will remain unchanged, right? This will be 10 raised to the power 6. So what will be the time? The time will be equal to the total distance, which is 10 centimeter, whole divided by the total distance, which is 10 centimeter, whole divided by the speed, which is 10 raised to the power 6. Correct? This will be the value of time. Done, sir. Perfect. Now, in this time, with the force, which will be Q into E upon M, the object will gain how much speed? So it will be V equals to U plus AT. That means acceleration into time. So this is basically your acceleration, right? The E is given, the electronic charge is given, mass is given. Just multiply it with this time. You will get the velocity along this axis, this one, Y, right? This is what they're asking. I hope you will be able to solve it. Option number 3 will be matching. 16 into 10 raised to the power 6 meter per second. A time varying potential difference is applied between the plates of a parallel plate capacitor of capacitance 2.5 microfarad. The dielectric constant of medium is this if it produces instantaneous. Okay, see, so the case over here is Q equals to CV, and displacement current will be simply equals to C into dV by dt. So they are asking the magnitude of rate of change of potential difference. This they are asking displacement current they have given, it is how much? 0.25 milliampere. 0.25 into 10 raised to the power minus 3 whole divided by 2.5 into 10 raised to the power minus 6. Solve it, you will get your answer. It is going to be option number 4, 100. Right? A coil of area and number of turns is rotating with angular speed omega in a uniform magnetic field about an axis which is perpendicular to magnetic field lines. Okay, so let's say the magnetic field lines are like this. So the axis over here is in this manner. Okay, this is the axis about which it is rotating, correct? The magnetic flux phi and induced EMF epsilon across it at an instant when B is parallel to the plane. So when B will be parallel to the plane, basically it's going to be a setup like this, correct? And the flux related will be 0, absolutely correct. The flux related will be 0 and the EMF will be there, yes, because it is rotating, and it will be NAB omega, just the EMF which is there in AC generators. So you must have seen the EMF which is generated over here is NAB omega sine of omega t. So right now they are making this angle, so it will have an a EMF of NAB omega at that particular point. A complex current wave is given by I equals to 5 plus 5 sine 100 omega t, its average value and RMS value. See, average value of this component will be 0 and of 5 will simply be 5. So average value is 5, and I think based on that only you will get the answer. RMS value on the other hand is always calculated as under root of 5 square, this coefficient plus this coefficient 5 square by 2. Okay, a square plus b square by 2. So you will get the answer as under root 37.5. Of the various series of hydrogen spectrum, the one that lies wholly in the ultraviolet Lyman. The binding energies per nucleon for a deuteron alpha particle are 1.1. The energy released. Simple, multiply 7.1 MeV with 4 and 1.1 MeV with 2 and 2. Correct? You will get your answer. It is going to match option number 2, which is 8. Clear? I hope this is making sense. Curie temperature is the temperature above which the ferromagnetic material becomes paramagnetic. Absolutely correct. Option number 1. The correct truth table for the given logic circuit is, I think we can do it. First look at the common things. So 0 0 is there, 0 0 is there, 1, and 0 1 0 1 0. Okay. Here also the same thing. Let's take into account 0 and 0. So let's say the input is 0. Okay. If the input is 0, here the input will be 1. Correct. Let's say here also the input is 0. Cool. Here it is 0. And here also it will be 0. Right. So 0 0 AND gate 0 not is 1. And here also 1 and 0 0 not is 1. 1 and 1 AND is 1. So 0 0 output should be 1. That means this is rejected, this is rejected. Now obviously I am not going to, the first one has helped me with 2 options. I am not going to look into the second one. I will be straight away looking for the third one over here. When 1 0, or let's talk about the fourth one. To be specific, let's talk about the fourth one. This is matching 1 1 1 and 1 1 0. Okay, so let's say this is 1. So here it will be 0. Correct. Here it is 1. So here also it will be 1. And here also it will be 1. Correct. And is 1, not will be 0. And is 0, not will be 1. Correct. 1 and 0 and will be 0. So the output should be 0. That means option number 2 is the correct answer over here. I hope by option elimination this question is making sense. In the circuit shown in the figure below, voltage V0 will be. Now see, here if you are remembering what is the potential drop across a silicon diode in forward biasing, then you will be able to solve this question. It is 0.7 volt and this is 0.3 volt. Now obviously the potential drop, if 0.7 volt occurs, then this won't be working, right? So basically the potential drop across this combination is equal to the least. So from 12 volt, here 0.3 drops. So basically the V0 value over here turns out to be 11.7 volt. Option number 1. Okay. If the two half power frequencies of series LCR are 40 and 90, the resonant frequency is, see, resonant frequency is basically under root of omega 1 into omega 2. Okay. This is omega 0. So 40 into 90 is 3600, that means 60 hertz. Next, a dipole is placed in an electric field as shown in the figure below. Find the direction in which it moves. Sir, these are non-uniform electric field lines. On the positive charge, this is a NEET PYQ asked in 2021. On the positive charge, you will experience a force over here, QE1. On the negative charge, you will experience a force, QE2. And obviously, E1 over here is more, therefore, overall the charge will be moving towards right. And why it will be moving towards right? Because the potential energy obviously will reduce. Option number 2 is correct. Find the equivalent capacitance between points A and B. So, in one go, it looks like there are n capacitors in series, but they are not, because this is one capacitor between 1 and 2, this is one capacitor between 2 and 3, this is one capacitor between, so 3 capacitors and this plate is 4. So, therefore, this is going to be which capacitor? N minus 1th capacitor, C, because this is N. So, in total, it's going to be C upon N minus 1, because all of them are in series. A ring rotates about z axis as shown in the figure. The plane of rotation is xy. At a certain instant, the acceleration of a particle P on the ring is 6 I cap minus 8 j cap. Find the magnitude of angular acceleration of the ring and its angular velocity at that instant. So see, at this point, acceleration is 6 I cap. That obviously will be the AC. And there is minus 8. That means this will be the tangential acceleration, correct? Now, radius is given, radius is not given. Radius of the ring is given. Okay. So if radius is given, you can find out the value of alpha. 80 is R alpha. So basically alpha will be equal to 8 by 2, that is 4. So alpha will be 4 radian per second square. 1 is the right answer. Correct? Option number 1. And similarly AC, you can replace it as omega square R. You will get the value of omega also. Okay. So simple problems. Overall the paper was lesser than the mediocre or the moderate range. It was solvable. It didn't take that much time. It was easily solvable within 1 hour. Okay. So that's it for today's discussion. I hope you have understood all the problems. We'll connect in the next grand test discussion. Take care everyone. Bye bye. And thank you so much.
Hello my dear students, welcome to the NEET Grand Test Series 6. Let us see, this paper is moderate up to the level of NEET examination. So let's see the question 46. The question is asking about the correct statements among the following. It is given A, B, C, D, E statements. Let us see which is a correct statement, which is not a correct statement. Order of melting points of hydrogen halides. It is given HCl is greater than HBr is greater than HF is greater than HI. But the actual order is going to be HI is greater than HBr, HF is greater than HBr is greater than HCl. So this is not correct. And it is also saying order of stability of oxides. Oxides of halides, iodide oxide is more stable than bromine oxide is more stable than chlorine oxide. So this is wrong statement. And the fluorine is the most electronegative element and cannot exhibit any positive oxidation state. It is being the most electronegative element in the entire periodic table. It do not show positive oxidation state, and it is a correct statement. Seaweeds and chili saltpeter are the sources of iodine. Chili saltpeter is NaNO3 and traces of NaIO3 is also present. So it is a source of iodine. It is a correct statement. And order of oxidizing power, fluorine, chlorine, bromine and iodine, decreasing order, and this is also a correct statement. Among all, the correct statements are C, D, E. Option A, option 1 is the correct answer for this question. Students, here is one more question. It is asking about select the correct statements. Whenever the NEET examination is there, you just identify the correct or incorrect. And the dissociation constant of water is less than H2S. It all depends on bond energy. Oxygen to hydrogen, bond energy is greater than sulfur to hydrogen. Therefore, dissociation constant of water is less than H2S is correct. All hexafluorides of group 16 elements are gaseous in nature, and this is also correct. And covalency of sulfur in the rhombic sulfur is 6. It is not correct. And in this rhombic sulfur, you are going to see covalency is going to be 2. So each sulfur is experiencing 2 bonds with it. So covalency is not 6, it is going to be 2. So it's a wrong statement. In a compound formation where the sulfur atom is in the second excited state, the possible hybridization of sulfur in the compound will be sp2 or sp3 or sp3d2, and it is also correct only. So I want to say this answer A, B, D are the correct and C is the wrong one. So option 1 is the correct answer for this question. Students, here is the question from thermodynamics. So there are 2 statements are being given, statement 1 and statement 2. Statement 1, T delta S system is the energy that is not available to do the useful work. So delta G is equal to delta H minus T delta S. And this is the magnitude of the energy that is not actually used for this work done, and it is a correct statement. And absolute entropy is determined using the third law of thermodynamics, which sets entropy of a perfect crystal is 0 at absolute 0, and it is a statement of third law of thermodynamics which is correct. So both statement 1 and statement 2 are correct. So option 1 is the correct answer for this question. Students, this is a question from thermodynamics. Here it is a question, the process A plus B gives rise to C. Enthalpy change is given minus 30.3. If entropies of A, B and C are given respectively like this, the process is at conditions are given, and the process could be spontaneous, the process could be non-spontaneous. If you see, delta G is equal to delta H minus T delta S. So delta H is given minus 30.3 and delta S can be calculated, sum of the entropies of the products minus sum of the entropies of the reactant. Entropies of the product, that is C, entropy of S, C, and entropy of A plus B. The entropy of the C is given as, and this A, B, C respectively, and this value is supposed to be A and B, and this value is supposed to be C, and it is going to be C value 125 minus A value 144 and B value 81. On doing so, you are going to get 100 joule Kelvin inverse, and it is converted into minus 0.1 kilojoule Kelvin inverse. Put that same value here. Delta H value is given as minus 30.3. Because it is given in the kilojoules, I have to convert this into kilojoules, and minus temperature is given at the standard states. All the values are given in the standard states. So we can use this as a 298 Kelvin into minus 0.1. So on doing so, you are going to get negative 0.5 kilojoules. So as this delta G value is negative, the process is going to be spontaneous. On solving so, you are going to, yes, this process is a spontaneous, delta G is going to be negative 0.5. Option 3 is the correct answer for this. Option 3 is the correct answer for this question. Students, this is the question from group 13 elements boron family. Given below are two statements, statement 1 and statement 2. BF6 3 minus cannot exist. Boron cannot exist BF6. Its maximum covalency is 4. So it cannot exist, a true statement. E naught of thallium 3 plus to thallium is a positive. So thallium 3 plus is not stable. So due to inert pair effect, thallium 3 plus will be converted into thallium plus. So this process is spontaneous and the E cell is going to be positive. So this is also correct statement. And both statement 1 and statement 2 are correct. Option 1 is the correct answer for this question. Students, it is a simple number of atoms calculation. The number of atoms present in 98 grams of H2SO4, mean to say 1 mole. Its molecular mass of H2SO4 is 98. And the number of atoms in 98 grams of H3PO4, it is also 1 mole because its molecular mass is 98. So as the number of moles are same, number of atoms is equal to its atomicity, and you have H2SO4 7 atoms and H3PO4 is going to be 8 atoms. So 8 atoms and 7 atoms. So number of atoms in H3PO4 is greater than number of atoms in H2SO4. Y is greater than A. X. So option 2 is the correct answer for this question. Students, here is the basic stoichiometric calculation. The decomposition of a certain mass of CaCO3 gives 11.2 grams, 11.2 dm cube of carbon dioxide. CaCO3 on decomposition gives rise CaO plus CO2. So he said that 11.2 dm cube of carbon dioxide is liberated. At STP, the mass of KOH that is required to completely neutralize this gas. So at STP, 11.2 dm cube means 11.2 liters, that is going to be 0.5 mole. That gas is reacted with potassium hydroxide. You are going to see the K2CO3 and it is neutralized. So you are going to get it. So I want to say here 11.2 dm cube means 0.5 mole. According to this equation, 2 mole can react with 1 mole, and if 0.5 mole of this can react with 1 mole of KOH. 1 mole of KOH means the molecular mass of KOH is going to be 56. So the answer for this question is going to be 56 grams. Option 3 is the correct answer for this question. Students, this question is from electrochemistry and it is given as, given standard electrode potentials, E0 cell of zinc is going to be minus 0.76, E0 cell of copper is going to be plus 0.34. Calculate the standard free energy for the reaction between these two. When this reaction takes place, zinc loses 2 electron, gives rise zinc 2 plus, and copper 2 plus takes 2 electrons, gives rise copper. So the overall reaction is going to be zinc plus copper 2 plus gives rise zinc 2 plus and copper. So I wanted to say 2 electrons are gained, 2 electrons are lost. N value is going to be 2. You are asked to calculate delta G naught. Delta G naught is equal to minus N F E naught cell. How do we calculate E naught cell? E naught cell is going to be E naught of cathode minus E naught of anode. The electrode where electrons are gained is called cathode. The electrode where electrons are lost is called as anode. So the cathode is copper, anode is zinc. So the cathode is going to be 0.34 and anode is going to be minus 0.76. On doing so, you are going to get plus 1.1 volt. So we have N value as 2 into F value is 96,500 into E naught value is going to be 1.1. On doing so, you will be getting minus 212400. So it is in joules. So delta G is going to be minus 212.4 kilojoules is the answer. Option 4 is the correct answer for this question. Students, this question is based on electrochemistry, Kohlrausch law in independent ionic migration. Given below two statements, statement 1 is given, statement 2 is given. Equivalent limiting equivalent conductance of barium chloride is equal to ionic mobility of barium 2 plus and ionic mobility of Cl minus. It is correct. If it is a molar conductance, we are supposed to multiply with 2 here, but equivalent conductance we cannot. It is a correct statement. According to A, B2 gives rise A plus 2B minus. Limiting molar conductance is equal to ionic mobility of A plus and 2 into ionic mobility of B minus. If it is for limiting equivalent conductance, you can just simply say equivalent conductance of A plus, equivalent conductance of B minus. It is a correct statement. And for molar conductance of H2O is equal to H plus HCl, NaOH, NaCl. HCl you see H plus and Cl minus. NaOH you can see Na plus OH minus, and it is given with NaCl. Na plus and Cl minus. On doing so, you can strike it off Na plus and you can strike it off Cl minus. So as a result of this, we will be getting limiting molar conductance of Hu plus, limiting molar conductance of OH minus. You are going to get molar conductance, limiting molar conductance of H2O. So this is also correct statement. So both statement 1 and statement 2 are correct. Answer 1 is the correct answer for this question. Students, this question is based on Henry's law. Which one of the following represents Henry's law? What Henry's law says? Pressure of the gas is directly proportional to mole fraction of the gas above its liquid. If you take a pressure of the gas and mole fraction of the gas is directly proportional, so it is a straight line passes through the origin, and option 1 is the correct answer for this question. Students, this question is from solutions and colligative properties. Y gram of a non-volatile organic substance, the molecular mass M is dissolved in 250 grams of benzene. The molar elevation constant of benzene is Kb. So the elevation in its boiling point is given by. So I mean to say, elevation in boiling point is equal to Kb into molality. That is equal to Kb into weight of the substance by molecular weight of the substance 1000 by weight of the solvent. So I mean to say Kb into Y gram of a non-volatile substance. So Y grams divided by whose molecular mass is M into 1000 by it is dissolved in 250 grams of solvent. So on solving, so you are going to get 4 times. So you can say delta Tb is going to be Kb into 4y upon M. So for this question, option 2 is the correct answer for this question. Students, this question is about the equilibrium constant. The equilibrium constant for this reaction is 4 into 10 raised negative 4 at 200 Kelvin. So this is a 200 Kelvin in the presence of a catalyst. The equilibrium is attained 10 times faster. Therefore, the equilibrium constant in the presence of catalyst is 200 Kelvin. So in the presence of catalyst or in the absence of catalyst, as long as the temperature is constant, equilibrium will be constant. This is not a numerical, it is a conceptual question. Option 2 is the correct answer for this question. Students, it is a question from chemical bonding. How many of the following molecules violate octet rule? The central atom has 8 electrons. That molecule is said to be octet sufficient molecule, octet followed. If the central atom has less than 8 electrons, it is said to be electron deficient molecules, hypervalent molecules. If it is more than 8 electrons, it is said to be hypervalent molecules, or you can say electron extended compounds. NH3 is octet, AlCl3 electron deficient, BeCl2 electron deficient, CCl4 and it is octet sufficient, PCl5 electron extended molecule, hypervalent superoctet molecule. So we can say only 3 molecules, I would say it is not accepting, it is violating octet rule. Option 3 is the correct answer for this question. Students, this question is based on the shapes of the molecules. So list 1 is given PCl5 and the other molecules, and the list 2 is given the shapes. Let us see, the PCl5 molecule has trigonal bipyramidal structure. So it is going to be trigonal bipyramidal. S of 6 is having octahedral geometry. So it is going to be octahedral geometry. BRF5 is going to be square pyramidal. BR F F F. So it is going to be square pyramidal. and BF3 is a trigonal planar sp2 hybridization, well known compound. So it is going to be trigonal planar option 2. So for this A4 and B3, C1 and D2, option 2 is the correct answer for this question. So the energies of E1 and E2 is given as, this is the energy E1 25 electron volts and this is E2 50 electron volts respectively. The relation between their wavelengths are given as lambda 1 and lambda 2. Energy is equal to hc by lambda. So energy is equal to, energy is inversely proportional to the wavelength. So I want to say E1 by E2 is equal to lambda 2 by lambda 1. So E1 value is given as 25 and E2 value is given as a 50. So I want to say lambda 2 by lambda 1 is equal to 1 by 2. Therefore, lambda 1 is equal to 2 lambda 2. Option 2 is the correct answer for this question. Students, it is a chemical kinetics question. For a reaction to N2O5 gives rise 4NO2 plus O2. The rate and the rate constant. So rate is given as 1.02 into 10 raised negative 4 mole liter inverse second inverse, and rate constant K is given as 3.4 into 10 raised negative 5 second inverse respectively. Then the concentration of N2O5. So you are asked to calculate the concentration of N2O5. Rate is equal to K and concentration of N2O5 to the power 1, and it is said that it is the first order reaction, and this second inverse can tell you that. So N2O5 concentration is equal to rate by K. So rate is equal to 1.02 into 10 raised negative 4 mole liter inverse second inverse, and 3.4 into 10 raised negative 5 second inverse. So on doing so, second inverse you can strike, second inverse you can strike, and it is going to be nearly 3 mole liter inverse is the answer for this question, is going to be answer 2. Students, this question is all about solubility equilibria. The solubility of calcium phosphate Ca3 PO4 twice, and it is sparingly soluble salt, gives rise 3, it gives rise to 3 calcium 2 plus and 2 phosphates. And let us say S is the solubility mole per liter, so 3 S cube and 2 S square. So on doing so, KSP is going to be 108 S to the power 5. S is the solubility. S 10 W grams per 100 milliliters. Per liter you are going to get this, and per gram it is going to be W 10 by its molecular mass. You take this, it is going to be 108 10 is W upon molecular mass to the power 5, and I am doing so, option 1.08 into 10 power 7 W by M to the power 5 is the answer for this question. Students, here is the question: which of the following constitutes the basic radicals of the fourth group in the qualitative analysis? In the first group, you are going to see dilute HCl. Group 1 cations. Group 2 cations, you are going to see dilute HCl and H2S. In this group 3 cations, you are going to see ammonium chloride and ammonium hydroxide. And group 4, you are going to see ammonium chloride and ammonium hydroxide and H2S. So they are going to be precipitated as sulfides, and if they are precipitated as a sulfides in group 2 acidic media, copper will come, and here group 4 basic medium, you are going to see manganese 2 place and zinc 2 place. So the answer for this question is option 2 for this question. Students, this is the mechanism of a hypothetical reaction X2 Y2 gives rise to XY. It is given as various steps, fast and slow and fast. The overall order of the reaction will be given as. So to calculate this overall order, you need to take the rate determining step, slowest step. So for that, the rate is given as K, and it is X and Y2. In this way, X is the intermediate. The intermediate is the one which is generated and which is consumed. In the rate law expression, intermediate should not be there. To get the quantity of this X, let us use the reversible reaction. So it is given as a K equilibrium is equal to X square upon X2, and X is given as square root of K equilibrium and X2. You can write K equilibrium to the power half, X2 to the power half. So that is going to be X concentration. So you can use this and put it here. Rate is equal to K dot K equilibrium to the power half and X to the power half, that is given X2 and Y2, and constant multiplied with the constant is going to be another constant, let us say K dash, and it is going to be X2 power 1 by 2 and Y2 power 1. So this is the rate law expression. Overall order is going to be half plus 1 is equal to 1 and a half of 1.5. So option 3 is the correct answer for this question. Students, this question is based on quantum numbers. Which of the following statements are correct? For a given principal quantum number, the total number of m values is going to be n square. This is the correct answer. And for a given principal quantum number, the total number of L values is going to be till n minus 1. And for a given principal quantum number, the total number of L values are n minus 1. This is not correct value. So the total number of L values is going to be the same principal quantum number. And for a given azimuthal quantum numbers, the total number of electron is going to be 4L plus 2. That is a well known fact. And for a given magnetic quantum number, the total number of electrons is going to be 2n square. For a given quantum number of magnetic quantum number, the maximum number of electrons that can be present in that particular orbital is going to be 2. So this is not a correct statement. I could say A and C only are the correct statement. Option 4, A and C is the answer for this question. Students, this is practical chemistry. Lyophobic colloid among the following. Starch is a lyophilic colloid and gelatin is a lyophilic colloid, and FeOH3 iron sol is going to be iron hydroxide sol is equal to lyophobic colloid, and gum arabic is going to be lyophilic colloid. And the answer for this question is going to be option 3 is the answer for this question. Students, this is going to be a structure based biomolecules question, and there is a 5-membered ring is given. The given cyclic structure corresponds to, there are 2 types of ring structures are there for the sugars that resembles a furan, and another one is going to be 6-membered ring, that is resembles pyron. So pyron is 6-membered ring, furan is 5-membered ring. So that it is said that pyranose, so two structures I just want to eliminate it here. And in this structure, the first carbon and the second carbon, you see this is called anomeric carbon, and the anomeric carbon in the Fischer structure, if OH group is there up, it is said to be beta structure. If OH group is called down, it is going to be alpha. So as OH is in the up, it is a beta structure. So it is supposed to be beta D fructofuranose. Option 3 is the correct answer for this question. So students, this question is from buffer question. Ka for HCN is given as 5 into 10 power minus 10. For maintaining a constant pH of 9.6, the volume of 5 molar KCN solution required to be added to 10 ml of 2 molar HCl solution. So it is a mixture of KCN and it is going to be HCN. So we can use acidic buffer formula. So for that it is going to be pH is equal to pKa plus log salt by acid Cn minus by HCN. So you can use this, and it is given as a pH is going to be 9.6020, and pKa value is going to be negative log Ka. So that is going to be negative log 5 into 10 power minus 10. So that it is going to be 10 minus log 5. Log 5 is going to be 0.7. So it is going to be 9.3. So 9.3 plus log Cn minus and HCN. So on solving a log Cn minus and HCN comes to be 9.6 minus 9.3 is going to be 0.3. So that you take in the anti-log, so Cn minus is going to be HCN. Ratio you got it as a 2. It is given 10 ml of 0.2 molar. So number of moles of HCN is going to be 10 milliliters into 2 molar upon 1000 is going to be 0.02. So you can say here HCN concentration is going to be 0. This is HCN concentration, and KCN concentration, number of moles of KCN is going to be, mean to say cyanide is going to be 2 into HCN number of moles, that is going to be 2 into 0.02 is going to be 0.04 moles. From there it is given as 5 molar KCN solution is given. So molarity is equal to number of moles by volume into 1000. If you take in milliliters, molarity is given as a 5, number of moles is going to be 0.04 from here, and volume in milliliters into 1000. On doing so, volume in milliliters is going to be 8 milliliters you are going to get. The answer for this question is going to be option 3 is the answer for this question. Students, this question is from amines. Which of the following amine can be prepared by Hoffman bromamide reaction but not by Gabriel thalamide reaction? Gabriel thalamide reaction is not used for aromatic amines. So PHNH2. So it is aniline. Aniline can be prepared by Hoffman bromamide degradation. You will be getting aniline. But this aniline cannot be prepared by Gabriel Thalmide synthesis, because in the Gabriel Thalmide synthesis haloarenes do not undergo SN2 reactions. So option 4 is the correct answer for this question. Students, it is a fundamental knowledge on the periodic table based question here. Nictosans comes to be MC, and chalcogen comes to be LV, and halogen comes to be TS, and noble gas comes to be OG. So it is given in the tabular form in the NCERT. The answer for this question is going to be option 2. Students, the number of structural isomers possible for the molecular formula C5H11. Let us see C5H11 as a linear molecule. I can just get this one with bromine. So I can have a bromine over here, I can have a bromine over here, I can have a bromine over here. So that linear make one branch, I can get it like this. Now in that I can brominate here, I can brominate here, and also on the third carbon, and here it is 4 structures are possible. And let us make it here, and this is the one. So the total 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. So I got 8 is the answer. Option 2 is the correct answer for this question. Students, it is based on the mechanism type question. All the following are examples of electrophilic substitution reactions except Remer-Tiemann reaction is an electrophilic substitution reaction. Coupling reaction of phenol with benzene diazonium chloride. So diazo compounds are going to be formed, and here it is also an electrophilic substitution reaction. Friedel-Crafts alkylation is a perfectly electrophilic substitution reaction. While it is a Sandmeyer reaction, N2Cl, when it is treated with Cu2Cl2, and you are going to get a chlorobenzene plus N2. And this is a nucleophilic substitution reaction. It can also assume it to have free radical substitution reaction in some other context. So of course this is absolutely not an electrophilic substitution reaction. So option 2 is the correct answer for the question. Students, here it is a question based on assertion and reason type questions. Assertion is given: unlike phenols, the carboxylic acid react with weaker bases such as carbonates and hydrogen carbonates to evolve carbon dioxide. So when sodium bicarbonate is treated with the phenols, carbon dioxide is not liberated, and carboxylic acids can liberate carbon dioxide with the sodium bicarbonate. The reason is acidic strength of this carboxylic group is greater than H2CO3 is greater than phenol. So the phenol is the least acidic than carbonic acid. And carbonates and bicarbonates are weak bases and not strong enough to pull the proton from the phenol. That's the correct. And which is a weaker acid than the carboxylic acids. Therefore, this is a correct statement, and actually this is explaining the given assertion. So reason is correct and the reason explains the assertion. So the answer is one, both A and R true, and R is the correct explanation of A. Students, this question is based on oxidation of alkene. So 2-butene on treatment with KMNO4 butene means this is your butene. So you are going to get vicinal diol, so cold KMNO4, so it is going to be syn hydroxylation. When you use ozonolysis, you are going to get 2 moles of CH3CHO. When you take 2-butene KMNO4 H plus, you are going to break the carbon to carbon double bond, and you are going to get CH3COOH. And butene and Br2 H2O, you are going to get halohydrin formation. So this is the answer. products that can be formed from the corresponding reaction. So it is asked vicinal diol means this is your vicinal diol. Option 1 is the correct answer for this question. Option 1 is the correct answer for this question. Students, here is the question: assertion and reasoning. Assertion: reactivity of the following bromides towards SN1. SN1 reactivity is always follows the stability of carbocation. So it is a tertiary and it is a secondary and it is going to be primary. So tertiary alkyl halides are more reactive than secondary alkyl halides are more reactive than primary alkyl halides. It's a correct statement. Order of stability of cations thus formed from these bromides is, again it is a tertiary and it is a secondary and it is a primary. So this is the reason exactly true and it explains the assertion. So assertion A and R true and R is the correct explanation of assertion. Option 1 is the correct answer for this question. Students, this is a matching type complexes that are given against the color. These colors are exactly printed in the NCERT. So according to the NCERT context, we can say this NiH2O4En2 plus is going to be pale blue in color. NiH2OEn twice plus 2 plus is going to be purple in color. NiEn thrice 2 plus is going to be violet in color, and NiH2O6 3 plus is going to be green in color. So based on that, I would say option 1 is the correct answer for this question. Students, this question is from group 13 elements. It is asking in the group 13 the element with the least melting point. So the melting point of this group 13 element is boron is greater than, aluminum is greater than, thallium is greater than, indium is greater than gallium. Gallium is the element, it has the lowest melting point since it has Ga2 dimeric state. So for this question, option 3 is the correct answer for this question. Students, is a conversion based question. CH3MgBr is treated with CH3CH1 followed by this. So CH3MgBr is a Grignard reagent. If it is treated with HCHO and followed by hydrolysis, you are going to get CH3CH2OH primary alcohol. You got it. So this is the structure A, and it is treated with thionyl chloride SOCl2 and it gives rise CH3, CH2 and Cl, and it is going to be B. And if it is treated with alkaline alcoholic KOH and H3O plus further, so KOH and elimination takes place CH3, CH2 double bond CH2. It is acid catalyzed hydration CH3 CH2 OH. You got it, and this is the final product C. And this final product C, isomerism exhibited by the C, these isomerism alcohols and ethers show functional group isomerism. Option 3 is the correct answer for this question. Students, again this is a route mapping question. This amino group and nitro group and 2 bromines are there when it is treated with Na, NO2 and HCl. So this forms diazotization followed by CuCl and HCl. It is going to give its brominated compound structure. A is supposed to be, it is a chlorinated compound, and NO2 will be intact, and this is a bromine and this is your bromine. This is a structure A. When it is treated with SnCl2HCl, nitro group is going to be reduced to get amino group, so that it is Cl and it is a Br and it is going to be a Br. And this B is treated with NaNO2 and HCl. It is going to be diazotized followed by H3PO2. It is reduced. So I am going to get Br, and it is going to be Br, and it is going to be Cl. Answer is supposed to be option 3 is the correct answer for this question. Students, it is a periodic table based question, and identify the correct position and the nature of the element with atomic number 32. Atomic number 32 means it is a group 14 elements, and in the group 14 elements the atomic number 32 comes in the fourth period, that is nothing but germanium. Germanium is supposed to be a metalloid, it belongs to the 14th group and the fourth period, so it is option 2 is the correct answer for this question. Students, here it is given statement 1 and statement 2. Statement 1, benzoic acid does not undergo Friedel-Crafts reaction. Yes, it is true, because benzoic acid, this is a strong electron withdrawing group, therefore it does not give the Friedel-Crafts reaction. And statement 2, benzoic acid on nitration forms meta-nitrobenzoic acid because the electron withdrawing group deactivates the benzene and it is a meta director. So both statements are correct, and statement 1 and statement 2 are the correct. Option 1 is the correct answer for this question. Students, here is a question, which of the following statements are correct? Benzene can involve electrophilic substitution reactions, that is the nature of benzene due to delocalization of pi electron system. It is a correct statement. Resonance energy of benzene is 36 kilocalorie per mole, it is a factual. Chlorobenzene is more reactive than benzene towards electrophilic substitution reaction. Chlorobenzene, the chlorine has a strong electron withdrawing group by minus inductive effect, so that it is less reactive than benzene. It is a wrong statement. And in rhenium ion, delocalization of electron stops at sp3 hybridized carbon. So in the rhenium ion, you just see an electrophile is substituted here, one hydrogen, and if an electrophile here, it comes a sigma bond is formed, and this is a sigma complex resonance stabilized, and delocalization, it is stopped at this place, so it is a correct statement. So I can say A, B, D are the correct statements. Option 3 is the correct answer for this question. Again, this question is a assertion and reasoning type questions. Assertion, TiH2O 6 times 3 plus is a colored, and this is due to DD transition is possible in TiH2O6 3 plus due to an unpaired electrons in the complex. Whenever unpaired electron is present in the d orbitals, it absorbs a visible wavelength and transmits its corresponding color of the wavelength, so it should be colored. So this is the reason correct and explains the assertion. So both A and R true, and R is the correct explanation of A. Option 1 is the correct answer for this question. Students, this question is based on F block elements. The correct statements among the following are: the actinoids are radioactive elements, and earlier members have relatively longer half-lives than the later ones, and it is a factual correct statement. And electronic configuration of cerium is going to be 6s2 5d10 5d04f2. Cerium has 4f1 configuration, so this is not correct statement. And ionic radius of cerium 3 plus is greater than UU 3 plus, and you have to check the order of this lanthanide contraction, so it is wrong. So I can say among A, B, C, only A is the correct statement. Option 4 is the answer for this question. Students, this question is asking choose the incorrect statement. The denaturation of alcohol, copper sulfate and pyridine are added so that the alcohol is unfit for drinking purpose, and this is a true statement. And the conversion of glucose to ethyl alcohol, the enzyme zymase is required, and this is a well known biology students, even you can answer this question. And the preparation of methanol from a mixture of carbon monoxide and hydrogen, the catalyst is used zinc oxide and Cr2O3. And this is given the reaction in the hydrocarbon chapter as well, and this is correct. And increasing order of boiling point is given butan 1-ol, butan 2-ol, propan 1-ol. So it is given wrong, as the number of carbon atoms increases, boiling point increases, but here it is given propanol has more boiling point than the butanol, which is not correct. So I would like to say here the incorrect statement for this is only 4. So answer 4 is the correct answer for this question. Students, ether is heated with concentrated HI to give hydroxy compound A, which is further heated with zinc. So when the ether is heated here with HI, you can't break this bond, rather you can break this bond, so that the aromatic compound that you are going to see, that is going to be phenol. And this phenol is treated with zinc, it is getting reduced. So it is going to be a benzene. A is a phenol, B is a benzene. Option 4 is the correct answer for this question. Students, here is the true or false statement based question. Para-amino azobenzene is an orange dye. Para-amino azobenzene is an yellow dye, that is aniline yellow, it is not orange, it is going to be false statement. The yield in the Gattermann reaction is found to be better than the Sandmeyer reaction. Sandmeyer reaction yield is better than the Gattermann reaction. This is going to be a false statement. N-ethyl benzene sulfonamide is soluble in dilute HCl. N-ethyl benzene sulfonamide is going to be soluble, and it is correct. Hinsberg reagent, and it is going to be primary amine test. You can see this N-ethyl benzene sulfonamide is soluble in sodium hydroxide. Benzene diazonium fluoroborate is stable at room temperature and insoluble in water, and it is also true statement. And I can say T and T, my combination comes to be F, F and T, T. Option 3 is the correct answer for this question. This question is based on conformations of ethane. Assertion and reason is given. It is given the staggered form of ethane is more stable than eclipsed form. So this is eclipsed form. So hydrogen, hydrogen, hydrogen and hydrogen. This is eclipsed form, and this is going to be a staggered form. This is a staggered form. Staggered form is more stable, and it is correct. And the torsional strain of the staggered conformation of ethane is less than that of eclipsed form, and this is also correct statement. So the option reason is the correct explanation of A, and option 1 is the correct answer for this question. Here is an interesting question based on Dibol H reaction in the preparation of carbonyl compounds. Dibol H is going to be used for the preparation of an aldehyde. It can convert cyanide to aldehyde. It can convert ester functional group to aldehyde. So it can reduce to OH. So I can say the structure is supposed to be like this. So this becomes CH4 and this become OH, and this will become, this part is going to be, it is going to be CHO. So the answer for this question, so this is a 1 carbon, 2 carbon, one carbon and 2 carbon CH4. So the answer for this question, option 3 matches with this. So option 3 is the correct answer for this question. This question is based on inductive effect. All the following will show minus I effect except any functional group that you know in the organic chemistry can show negative inductive effect except O minus. So option 1 is the correct answer for this question. So, we are done with Grand Test 6 paper discussion, and this paper is moderate and it is a little tricky. According to the NCERT only the paper is there, and the same model of the paper you can expect in the coming NEET examination. Thank you.